Hi, I'm Eric. 3 months ago, I walked away from the best thing I ever built, a restaurant called The Harbor House. Not because I wanted to, but because I thought I had no choice. My business partner, Marcus, had convinced me I was drowning the place financially, that I was the problem, that stepping away was the noble thing to do. I signed papers I barely read and left with nothing but a cardboard box of my belongings and a crushing sense of failure. Last Tuesday, I was sorting through that box when I found a receipt from the Harbor House on the back, in Marcus's handwriting, "Return when you're ready." I stared at those words for an hour. My phone rang. My sister, Lisa. "Eric, you there?" "Yeah, sorry, just found something weird." "Weird how?" "A receipt from the restaurant. Marcus wrote on it, 'Return when you're ready.'" Lisa went quiet for a moment. "That's creepy. What's that supposed to mean?" "I don't know. A taunt? Like he's daring me to come back? Or he's rubbing it in your face. Either way, that guy's a piece of work." She paused. "Have you seen the restaurant lately?" "No, why would I? It's not mine anymore." "Eric, you need to drive by there, like today." "Why? Just trust me, please." 2 hours later, I sat in my car across from the Harbor House. The place was packed. Brand new sign, fresh paint, full parking lot. My stomach twisted. I called Lisa back. "It looks amazing." "Yeah, it does. Want to know something else? I had lunch there last week." "You what?" "I wanted to see what Marcus did with the place." "Eric, he didn't change anything except the sign. Same menu, same recipes, same everything, your recipes." "That's not illegal, Lisa. We were partners." "I'm not done." I started talking to Janet. You remember her, the hostess you hired? Of course. She got drunk and told me things, a lot of things. She said Marcus has been telling everyone he built the restaurant from scratch, that you were just an investor who tried to interfere. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. That's a lie. It gets worse. She said Marcus showed her documents proving you embezzled money from the business. That's why you left. I never, Lisa, I would never. I know you wouldn't. But Eric, he's destroyed your reputation. Everyone thinks you're a thief. Why would Janet tell you this? Because she felt guilty. She said Marcus made her lie, threatened to fire her if she didn't back up his story. And there's more. Tom called me yesterday. Tom, my former head chef and best friend. We'd started the Harbor House together before I brought Marcus in as the business manager. Tom hasn't spoken to me in 3 months. Because Marcus told him the same lies. But Tom found something. He wouldn't tell me what over the phone. He wants to meet you, tonight. The coffee shop on Miller Street, 8 o'clock. I don't know if I can face him, Lisa. You have to. Eric, I think Marcus set you up. And I think that receipt, that's him being cocky, thinking you'll never figure it out. The coffee shop was nearly empty when I arrived. Tom sat in the corner booth looking older than I remembered. His eyes met mine and I saw anger there, but not directed at me. Tom, sit down. His voice was rough. I owe you an apology. You don't. Yes, I do. I believe Marcus. I actually believed you stole from us. He slid a folder across the table. Open it. Inside were bank statements, contracts, and emails. Lots of emails. Where did you get these? Marcus got sloppy. Left his laptop open in the office last week. I saw an email that didn't make sense, so I started digging. Eric, he forged your signature on withdrawal forms. He created fake invoices from suppliers that never existed. He stole over $200,000 and made it look like you did it. My hands shook as I flipped through the evidence. Why? We were partners. The restaurant was successful. Because he wanted it all. Look at the dates. He started planning this a year before you left. He systematically turned everyone against you, built a paper trail, then convinced you to sign over your shares to save the business. Those documents I signed made him sole owner. You gave up everything because you thought you were helping, and he knew you would. He knew you'd fall on your sword rather than fight. I felt sick. Does anyone else know? Janet suspects. A few other employees have questions, but Marcus pays well and threatens better. Tom leaned forward. Here's what you need to understand. He's not just a thief. He's dangerous. Last week, he caught me looking at his laptop, backed me into the walk-in cooler, and told me if I said anything, he'd make sure I never worked in this city again. He threatened you? Physically? Grabbed my shirt, shoved me against the shelves. I've got bruises. I'm not the first. 2 servers quit last month after he went off on them. One of them, Sarah, he cornered in the back alley after closing, told her he knew where she lived. We need to go to the police. With what? These documents? I stole them from his computer, and I'm not a forensic accountant. We need more than this. Tom pulled out his phone. But I know someone who can help. Rachel Chen. She's a lawyer who specializes in business fraud. Used to work for the DA's office. I already sent her copies of everything. You trust her? My sister used her in a lawsuit 3 years ago. She's tough, she's smart, and she hates bullies. She wants to meet tomorrow morning. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Heard you've been asking questions. Should have stayed gone, Eric. Tom saw my face. What? I showed him the message. That's Marcus. He knows we're meeting. How? Someone told him. Or he's watching. Doesn't matter. We need to move fast. Tom, if he threatened you, if he's dangerous, that's exactly why we have to do this. He thinks he won. He left you that receipt because he's arrogant. Return when you're ready. Well, Eric, are you ready? I looked at the folder, thought about 3 months of shame and isolation, about Marcus sitting in my restaurant telling my story as his own. Yeah, I'm ready. Rachel Chen's office was downtown, cramped but organized. She was younger than I expected, early 30s, with sharp eyes that never stopped moving. Mr. Parker, Tom sent me everything. I've spent 2 days going through it. And? Marcus Holloway is either incredibly stupid or incredibly confident. Probably both. He didn't cover his tracks as well as he thinks. She spread documents across her desk. These forged signatures, amateur work, the fake invoices. 3 of the companies don't exist. The 4th is registered to an LLC he created. And the wire transfers. Can you prove it? In court? Yes, but I want more. I want him buried. She looked at Tom. You said he's been threatening employees? At least 3 people that I know of. Physical intimidation, verbal threats. Anyone willing to testify? Tom shifted uncomfortably. They're scared. He's not just their boss, he controls their livelihoods. Rachel tapped her pen. Here's what we're going to do. Eric, I need you to go to the restaurant tonight. Confront Marcus publicly. Get him talking. That sounds dangerous. It might be. That's why Tom and I will be there recording everything. We need him to admit something, anything. Better yet, we need him to threaten you. You want him to threaten me? I want him to show his true colors. Men like Marcus, they can't help themselves when they feel cornered. He left you that receipt because he's cocky. Use that. Push his buttons. Tom frowned. Rachel, if he gets violent, that's the point. We document it, call the police, and by the time they arrive, we have assault on top of fraud. It ties everything together. My stomach churned. And if this goes wrong, then we proceed with just the financial evidence. But Eric, you deserve to see his face when he realizes you know everything. Don't you want that? I did. God help me, I really did. The Harbor House looked different at closing time. Most customers had left. Tom had texted me that Marcus was alone in the office finishing paperwork. I walked through the front door like I owned the place, because once I had. Marcus looked up from the host stand, and his face went through several expressions: surprise, calculation, then that familiar smile. Eric, this is unexpected. Is it? You told me to return when I was ready. His smile tightened. That receipt, you kept it. Sentimental. Interesting choice of words. Return when you're ready. Ready for what, Marcus? For a drink, for closure, whatever you needed. Look, I know things ended badly. Things didn't end. You ended them. After you spent a year framing me for embezzlement. The smile vanished. Excuse me? The fake invoices, the forged signatures, the $200,000 you stole and blamed on me. Marcus stepped closer, voice dropping. You need to leave. Now. Or what? You'll threaten me like you threatened Tom? Like you threatened Sarah in the alley? I don't know what lies Tom's been telling you. He showed me your laptop files, Marcus. All of them. Marcus's face went dark red. He what? That's theft. Corporate espionage. So call the police, please. I'd love to explain everything to them. He grabbed my jacket, yanking me forward. You smug piece of... You think you're clever? You signed away this restaurant. It's mine. Everything here is mine. Tom emerged from the kitchen, phone raised, recording. That's assault, Marcus. Marcus shoved me backward into a table, plates shattered. You brought him here? You're both fired. Can't fire me from a place I don't work anymore. Tom kept filming. But you can assault Eric again, really make this easy for the police. Rachel appeared from the dining room, her phone also recording. Marcus Holloway, I'm Rachel Chen, Mr. Parker's attorney. You just committed assault on camera. I'd recommend you step back. Marcus looked between us, chest heaving. This is a setup. This is justice, I said, getting up. You stole from me. You destroyed my reputation. You threatened people. And you were so sure you'd gotten away with it that you left me a receipt inviting me back. You can't prove anything. We can prove all of it. The question is whether you want to make this worse by adding assault charges. Marcus lunged at me again, but Tom stepped between us. Don't. Move, Tom, or you're next. Another threat on camera. Rachel smiled coldly. Keep going, please. The front door opened. 2 police officers walked in, called by Rachel 5 minutes earlier. Marcus's face went white. The police station interview room was cold. Detective Morrison reviewed our evidence, while Marcus sat in another room with his own lawyer. This is comprehensive, Morrison said. The forgeries alone are enough for multiple felonies. Add the assault we witnessed, the documented threats to employees. Mr. Parker, you've got a solid case. How long will this take? The DA will review everything this week. Given the evidence, I'd expect charges filed by Friday. Mr. Holloway's lawyer will probably try to negotiate, but with the assault caught on video, his options are limited. Rachel leaned forward. What about the restaurant? That's civil court, but with criminal charges pending, Eric can petition for emergency injunction to prevent Marcus from disposing of assets. 2 weeks later, I stood outside the Harbor House, my Harbor House again. The court had frozen Marcus's control pending the criminal trial. He'd been denied bail after trying to contact witnesses. Tom joined me on the sidewalk. Feels different now. Everything does. Janet's willing to testify, so is Sarah. And 6 other employees came forward with their own stories once they heard Marcus was arrested. He really thought he'd get away with it. He did get away with it. For months. If he hadn't left that receipt, if he hadn't been so arrogant. But he was. That's the thing about guys like Marcus. They can't help bragging. My phone rang. Blocked number. I answered. Eric. Marcus's voice shaky. We need to talk. How are you calling me? Lawyer's phone. Listen, I made mistakes, okay, but we can fix this. Drop the charges, and I'll sign over the restaurant. Full ownership. Just make this go away. No. Eric, please, I'm sorry, I panicked. The restaurant was struggling, and The restaurant wasn't struggling. You stole from it. You framed me. You threatened people. I know, but we were friends once, partners. That has to mean something. It meant something. Past tense. You destroyed it. I'll do anything. Community service, restitution, whatever you want. Just don't let them send me to prison. Marcus, you made your choices. Now you live with them. Eric, please. I hung up. Tom watched me. How do you feel? Tired, angry, relieved, all of it. He called to apologize? He called to save himself. There's a difference. Lisa arrived, carrying coffee. The DA called. Marcus's lawyer wants to plea bargain. 5 years, full restitution, permanent restraining order. What did you tell them? That it's your decision. But Eric, 5 years is real time, and you get everything back, the restaurant, your reputation, your money. I looked at the Harbor House, thought about the year of planning Marcus had done, the 3 months I'd spent believing I was the problem, the receipt with its mocking message. Tell them we'll consider it, but no reduced charges. He pleads guilty to everything, fraud, assault, all of it, Tom grinned. That's not how plea bargains work. Then he can go to trial. I'll testify. So will everyone else. Rachel appeared, smiling. I just heard from the DA. Marcus accepted your terms, full guilty plea, 5 years minimum, complete restitution. It's over, Eric. Over. The word felt strange. What happens now? Now you rebuild. The restaurant, your life, all of it. And Marcus? Serves his time. You never have to see him again. 2 months later, the Harbor House reopened under new management. Mine. Tom ran the kitchen. Janet managed the front. We'd rehired everyone Marcus had driven away and doubled their wages. The receipt Marcus left me hung framed in my office. Return when you're ready. I had returned, and I'd won. Tom stuck his head in the door. Eric, reporter here for that interview about the reopening. Tell them I'll be right there. I looked at that receipt one more time. Marcus thought it was a taunt, but in the end it became evidence. Proof of his arrogance, his certainty that I'd never fight back. He was wrong. Some people believe revenge is wrong, that you should forgive and move on. But I learned something these past months. There's a difference between revenge and justice. I didn't hurt Marcus. I just made sure he faced consequences for what he'd done. And that made all the difference. So here's my question. Have you ever had someone betray you so badly that fighting back was the only option? How did you handle it? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more true tales of betrayal and justice. Trust me, there are more stories coming.